Boom.
Welcome to another episode of It's Debatable NFL Edition. I'm your host, Justin Jones, here with co-host Sebastian. Sebastian's finally back after another ghost appearance from him last week. He tried to sneak in and show no visuals and just bad audio. I don't know what type of time he was on, but he's here today. Playoffs is continuing. We're in the divisional rounds. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
We got about what was it? Four matchups, right? Two
Four
Sunday,
matches here.
two Saturday.
The games are getting shorter, man. The games are getting shorter.
Yeah, man. Just coming towards the end of the NFL season, man. I don't want it to end. The betting part of me don't want it to end, but even the fan, I definitely just want to see more football. But people always talked about a longer season, but we know that would lead to a lot of CTE, and I just don't think that's beneficial. But break it down, Seb. You don't want to be know all the matches by heart. I don't. Or sorry to y'all, Seb knows it. What games are we talking about?
All right. First of all, I got it. I don't know. Maybe it's because you have your phone, but I got the matchups up here just so I know myself too. But we're gonna start off tomorrow's first game. Is going to be the Buffalo Bills against the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos just had the bye for being the first seed. In the AFC, I believe they get in the AFC. So they get the bye. The Bills just coming off of a tough game against the Jacksonville Jaguars too. Looked very battle tested in that game. They faced a tough matchup against a Broncos defense that's been suffering. A Broncos team that, for the most part of the season, was on like an 8-9 game win streak before running into the Jacksonville Jaguars. Some people might say that this, not their schedule, but just the manner that they win games in, that they haven't been as much of a threat. But Bo Nix and the crew has gotten there rolling. Their defense have been something that's really been leading the front charge too for them as well. So I'm very interested into this matchup too. I'll start off my prediction. I think for just the Bills, this game is going to mean a little bit more after coming out against the Jacksonville Jaguar game like that, to where both the defense was rugged and they were hitting on offense. To me, the Denver Broncos has looked suspect at times throughout the season with their offense. Bo Nix leading the charge. I don't know which Bo Nix I am going to get. I could get an outstanding Bo Nix that looks like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, or I could get a subpar Bo Nix to where nobody's hitting. Another thing I do notice too, the wide receiver core for the Denver Broncos has been hit or miss some games too. A guy like Cortland Sutton could be on fire one game, and then he could just have four out of 10 targets, and then just really be drop a lot of passes. I've seen a lot of times to where Cortland Sutton will have a good look and really drop the ball. Troy Franklin, somebody who I could say might be wide receiver two for them, has been a hit or miss too as well too. There's some games where he's on fire, we look like a wide receiver one, and there's other games to where he's subpar in my opinion as well too. A guy like Pat Bryant still trying to figure it out too for himself, and then even their tight end Evan Ingram, who sometimes don't even look like he's out there on the field. He looks more of a blocker than he does as a tight end for them too. Somebody a lot of people expected to take a leap this year. Somebody that expected to be an elite tight end this year, and we just haven't seen it this far. I think the brightest spot for this Broncos offense has been R.J. Harvey, the emergence of him taking over J.K. Dobbins running back duties. Somebody who just, when I look at him, he's just breaking through tackles. He's a force out there. For some reason, it's gonna sound crazy, but kind of reminds me of Marshawn Lynch. Not to the full extent though, but just how he's able to play that aggressive running back role. It's more aggressive and just running through the defense more so than just there's different type of running backs. I feel like there's a power running back, there's a finesse running back, and there's a speed running back. I think RJ Harvey clears the aggressive running back and just being able to force a first down or force himself to get a yardage of like 15 or 20 from what I've seen thus far this season for him too. He's like a freight train. So I feel like that's going to be an X factor for them. But for the most part, though, I'm just not a firm believer in a Broncos team this soon. I'm gonna go with the experienced team within the Buffalo Bills. I know they're missing key pieces now. Now that Gabe Davis towards ACL, I'm not too sure about Tyrell Shavers. Who else is missing out of that bunch? I'm missing somebody else. Joshua Palmer probably played like 3 games this whole fucking season. I don't know what happened to Joshua Palmer, but their wide receiver core is limited. but I'm going to trust the fact that Josh Allen will find a way to get it done. Brandon Cooks has shown flashes of veteran experience for this team. He's a deep ball threat for them. Somebody who's going to be relied on heavy too, as well as Khalil Shakur. Uh, Dalton Kincaid is going to have to step up to the plate as well as Dawson Knox too. That two tight end duo should be spectacular, and I'm expecting a better game from James Cook overall. James Cook is going to be so pivotal into this game that if he could get the run game going, it's going to make Josh Allen's life 100% more easier. So James Cook is going to be pivotal, but everybody else just got to follow along. Keon Coleman, this is a big game for you. This is somebody who just been benched. You see the Cam Newtons of the world talking about it. The Shannon Sharps talking about it. We drafted you, man. We give them grace to young players. You know what I mean? You're not a young player no more. It was cool when you were saying I like cookies and all types of stuff and dancing. But this is a big moment now, so we need Keon Coleman to step up. I ain't hating against you. I'm rooting for you, brother, though. But big game, man. Divisional round, man. You got to know what's at stake for your quarterback.
Yeah, big matchup, Bills, Broncos. You know, before last Sunday, because that's when the Bills played, right? Before last Sunday, I probably would have had the Broncos winning this matchup. But I think the Bills, some people say it's not what you win, it's how you win it. And I think the Bills just have a lot of momentum going into this next matchup against the Broncos based off how they beat Jacksonville. If you go back to that last game, if you watched it, I feel for its entirety, you would still say Jacksonville was the better team. But just like me and you spoke about a couple days ago, was that Josh Allen had that type of MVP performance, especially in the fourth quarter when he put the team on his back and got them past the finish line. I think a win like that when they really weren't the favorites puts a certain type of battery in their back. And I think you brought up the Keon Coleman, the Khalil Shakurs, and all of them. I think they're gonna be amped up. I think they're gonna be rejuvenated off that last game. Because they had a real up and down season, the Bills, to where I just felt like going into the playoffs, I didn't know who they can beat because I seen them lose to a lot of bad teams. But I think they're gonna be ready for this matchup, and I think we're gonna see probably the best game we've seen from the Bills all season. Right now, when you talk about the Broncos, me saying the Bills is gonna win doesn't take anything away from them. I think the Broncos is a great team, and I think they're very well coached. I said this so many times this season. I think that's the most important matchup is that coaching battle. I'm forgetting the name from the Bills coach. What's his name, sir?
I forgot this brother's name. Let me
I
look.
just didn't want to disrespect him and not say his name, but he is a great coach. I do think he gets the
Oh,
most
Sean
out of
McDermott.
Sean McDermott. I think he definitely gets the most out of the personnel that he has. But Sean Payton is always prepared. I think he has just that belief in the locker room that they can go as far as the Super Bowl, right? I think their defense is great. That's something that the Bills are gonna have to worry about, but. I'll say this. If it comes down to the fourth quarter, right, just like we seen with that Bills game, I would just have to say the Bills win it, right? Just based off how they performed just last week and what we know Josh Allen is capable of just with the football in his hands. But if you let the Broncos, right, in that first quarter just get off to a huge lead, I don't think that's gonna do any favors for the Bills. But you hit it right on the head, and I think this is very important. James Cook. James Cook is one of the best running backs that this league has. He's good enough to have a 3-4 touchdown game right on any given night. Um Now, once again, no one's 100% going into these playoffs. Everyone's banged up, but I feel he is the X factor, and if they, like you said, can get that run game going, I expect the Bills to have a pretty favorable matchup, right, just throughout the game. But if not, and it's just gonna come down to Josh Allen throwing it, I think that puts a lot of pressure on those receivers, and the defense is gonna know that, and they're gonna really try to hurt them boys. Every single round, I think, is just gonna be tougher and tougher. But if I'm putting money down, I'm just gonna put the Bills based off momentum. A buy isn't always the best thing, right? Just in any sport, when you have all those days off, right? And it's kind of like in the NBA, like when you clinch a playoff spot, and then you have just all that time off, right? You know, when the playing comes and those top seeds get that time off, sometimes it's not always beneficial for them, right? You being in action just keeps your body ready, and I think the Bills just have a little bit of edge in this matchup, so I'm gonna take the Bills to win the game.
So we got Bills. All right, so that game starts off at 4:30 on CBS and Paramount. Dual check in. So that's going to be the first game of the Saturday card. The second game of the Saturday card is going to be a heavy hitter matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the one seed Seattle Seahawks. This game, the Seattle Seahawks, just the first seed in the NFC, got the bye week by actually beating the 49ers too, I believe. So, a little bit of a rematch, part two, because last time I checked, Seattle kicked the 49ers ass. Couldn't get nothing going though, but this is a 49ers team that's been resilient for the most part of this season, dealing with just a lot of injuries, a lot of people not being able to play a lot of key components, but still find a way to just beat the champs last week though. So they're looking to build off that momentum. So giving my prediction for this game too, I have the 49ers winning. Me personally, I think if the 49ers, the San Francisco 49ers beat the Seattle Seahawks, I think they have a chance of just going to the Super Bowl. I think they have a chance of going to the Super Bowl, and I think they even have a chance of winning it, despite not having George Kittle though, because just the type of offense that Kyle Shanahan runs, and how he's very versatile and making everybody look like a star in their role, is definitely been something I noticed throughout the season. Their adjustments has been top tier. It don't matter who's in the lineup for them, and even a plus given they're getting Ricky Parcell back, somebody that's another a lethal wide receiver. I think if healthy, could have had one of them years, as in his rookie class, as in the Tedra McMillans of the world. I think he could have been better than him. Ricky Parcell is a huge gain for this 49ers offense, especially losing to George Kittle. I feel like the kid Jake Tongues is going to step up too as well. Every time that he's been in the lineup when the Kittle has been out, he's definitely been special for them as well too. I'm looking at Christian McCaffrey to take on a load of offense too. He's been special for them all year long for just him being healthy and for the season that he had. In my opinion, offensive player of the year. I think that he's just one of them ones. I think he's going to be able to adjust no matter how. And I know how good this Seattle defense is. I've seen it time and time again this year to where they play that in-your-face defense, to where they play an aggressive style of defense. You're not getting nothing off. It's going to be tough. I'm not saying he's going to be a king in work, but I'm relying. I actually like Brock Purdy in this matchup too. I feel like Brock Purdy is going to show that he's an elite quarterback, especially in the playoffs, to where his game ramped up. I see in a stat that he's saying he's 4-0 against the Seattle Seahawks. Not counting statistics, because if we're going to count statistics, is last week they said that Josh Allen, I mean, the Bills are 0-5 on the road in the playoff game, so I'm not counting that, but just the momentum that these 49ers are going to have. On the side of things, though, I could see that the Seattle Seahawks handle business too. Like you said, a bye week is not always a good thing too. But in this case scenario, you give time for Sam Darnold to heal, even though they're saying that he's injured and he might not play. So that kind of puts a lot of pressure on just the backup quarterback. And who's the backup quarterback? I think it's the Jalen Milrose kid. I'm not too sure. Do not quote me on that. But it's going to be a lot of pressure for the Seattle Seahawks too. But you have a guy like Jackson Smith Najigma that's been doing this thing all year, um, leading the wide receivers in total receiving yards. Somebody who's had a breakout year. Somebody who's been very special this far too, an offensive juggernaut too for him as well. You got guys like Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. That duo's been very solid. You get a guy like Cooper Cup back, who has playoff experience, who has won at the highest level in football in the Super Bowl, who has done it. And you take all that and you add the defense in as well. It's going to be a tough matchup though, but I'm going to stick with my pick with the 49ers, just off the strength of what I've seen for them and just how resilient they are. It doesn't matter what matchup they go into, they're going to play it like, they're going to play very tough though. So I got to roll with the 49ers on this one. And Christian McCaffrey's my guy.
Um, yeah, Sam Darnold not being 100% is very troublesome. I already don't trust Sam Darnold before he was hurt, healthy hurt. He's just, I feel like in the biggest moments he tends to crumble. he would have to show me that in this primetime matchup that he can get the job done. The quarterback, one of the toughest position in sports, a lot falls on you. If you win, you're gonna get majority of the credit, and if you lose, you're gonna get majority of the blame. I think it's some type of oblique injury that he has, but so any type of just injury right now that's gonna have him at only maybe 70-80%. I don't think going up against this 49ers team that's going to be beneficial, because you spoke about somebody like Jackson Smith, nigga. Jackson Smith, my nigga.
Oh, wait.
What? However you pronounce his name. Just kidding. But someone's gonna have to throw him the ball. If Sam Darnold's not playing, I see any backup quarterback, the game is over. He's just this. I just don't see them pulling that off. And I definitely like the coach over on Seattle too. He's definitely gonna have a game plan set for them. They're always well prepared. But this is a time where you already know in the playoffs your stars have to be stars. Right. And if you're missing the head of the snake, I just don't see how you're gonna be able to advance. The 49ers have had injuries just like you said the whole season, but them having that asterisk right towards them the whole season and them having to play through it, that's made them mentally stronger, and they know right it's that next man up mentality. Um you brought up Christian McCaffrey. I definitely expect a great game out of him. And Brock Purdy, man, like I said, when I seen that man hit the Dougie, that means that he's in the right mindset. He's feeling confident, and that's the type of quarterback play that you need. When it comes down to this matchup, and that's the most important matchup to me, the quarterback matchup. You have two quarterbacks that, well, Sam Darnold was highly drafted, right? Once he went to the Jets, but both of them have had up and down careers. They both have now found homes, right? Purdy being with the 49ers, and Sam Darnold just being now with the Seahawks after the Vikings just let him go. They both had good season. Sam Darnold did have a better season, but like I said, if he's not ready to go, I just don't see how the Seahawks pull this off. So me placing a safe bet, I'm also gonna have to go with the 49ers.
All right, floor. So we're going 49ers money. All right. So next game we have is on the Sunday card at 3 p.m. We have a matchup between the Houston Texans and the New England Patriots. The Houston Texans just coming off a win. We could actually cover that game too because we just gave our prediction on Monday. Just coming off a win against the Pittsburgh Steelers. In a game to where it was decided to where I told you I think more so this defense covers a lot for this offense too. And in a game to where you expecting Aaron Rodgers to go berserk, man, he just looked a shell of himself. Every pass looked very predictable. They were even calling out their picks. I was watching a video on the sideline. They were mic'd up. The Houston Texans were calling out their picks. They said, "Well, if you get this pick right now, what are you gonna do?" He said, "Are you gonna run? Or are you gonna take a knee?" He said, "I'm running that bitch in." And then the defensive course literally calling it out too. So that's kind of crazy that they did that. More so just the Houston Texans side of things though. This is a team, like I said, has picked up momentum at the right time too. A team that was struggling for the first half of the season, then found just gold in their defense as they picked up along the whole time. And every time I'm watching it, they make it tough for a wide receiver core. They play in your nose defense too as well. One of the best defense in the league, if not the best defense in the league, and it covers a lot of ground and makes CJ Stroud's offensive game a little bit more easier. In this case scenario, it's not going to be no walk in the park due to the fact that they say Nico Collins is out with concussion. This is your wide receiver one. This is somebody that's important. This is going to be is very important to what you want to do and just being able to get out this round against this Patriots team. This is a Patriots team too as well that has a tough defense too as well, but can very much get successful on offense. We just seen Drake May have one of those games to where it was all right. It wasn't a Drake May special though, but he got that out the way. And I don't think even though with this defense, it's going to be a walk in the park. So yeah, so that part is very impressive. Another thing is for this Houston Texans is are they going to be able to keep up offensively? Is Christian Kirk going to have that spectacular game like how he had that game on Monday? That's one of the concerns too. Is what else am I missing? Jaden Higgins is another person I believe I'm missing. Can he relieve duties for Christian Kirks too? How dependable is Jolton Schultz? How dependable is the running back core within the likes of Woody Marks and Nick Chubbs too? Two people that had spectacular games. Don't get me wrong; they had a hell of a game. Woody Marks too, especially too. So they're going to be reliant upon him heavy. And how CJ Stroud going to adjust too? Because now you're going up against another tough defense too. Because all credit to the Steelers too, they do have some tough defense too as well. Things just didn't go their way that night, but now you're going against another defense in the Patriots that's getting a guy returning in Christian Gonzalez now that just cleared concussion protocol. So it's a lot to ask for. So in this case scenario, as much as I want to go with the Texans, and if Nico Collins was healthy, I would go with the Texans more so that you have that safety wide receiver one. But just what the Patriots has shown, you're gonna need a lot. And you can't have your wide receiver one missing in this case scenario too, because now you're asking a lot upon the other guys to be special. And in this case scenario, the Patriots are special, both on offense and defense too. And when Drake May gets it rolling, it's going to be a tough call too, because now you got guys like Stephon Diggs, who's having just a revitalizing season. Keyshawn Boutte, that's somebody that's been killing it for the most part of the season too. Hunter Henry is an elite tight end. You got an elite not elite wide receiver, elite running back core between Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. And when I was watching that game, they kind of switch it up to where if we need a running or receiving, they put Ramondre Stevenson in that position to where he could be successful as a receiver too as well too. I've noticed that for the most part of this season, and just a guy Travion Henderson who's just a lethal running back. If he finds the right route, if he finds just the right angle, he's going to try to make a breakaway run to score in the end zone or get a gain of like maybe 20. Who knows though, and try to make a big play. But for the most part though, I'm gonna lean towards the Patriots more. Despite just the exceptional defense that the Houston Texans have been playing, I think that just everything that the Patriots have done this season, they're ready for the big moment. Drake May is not a slouch. He knows when to run. He knows when to pass. He's very observant of just what the defense is giving him and what he'll take. He picks apart the game, and I've noticed that about him. Just watching him closely, he picks apart the game. He's not one to take what the defense gives. He's gonna find just what's out there and then just make the best of it though. So shout out to Drake May. I'm expecting a way better game than what we see last Sunday against the Chargers. But yeah, I got to go with the Patriots on this one.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, my Steelers. Well, let me not claim them, but the team that once the playoffs started, I felt like they was gonna go all the way. The defense, I feel did their job, right? I believe CJ Stroud, they took the ball away from him about 3 times, so the defense was there, and just they couldn't really score any points off the turnovers. So you get right if you get those 4 takeaways and you don't score any points off it, it's gonna be very hard for you to win. But I'm gonna point the finger at DJ Metcalf, man. This was a dude that, they gave away George Pickens for. And I feel like him towards the end of the season, he just didn't produce, right? We can start with how he slapped the fan and then ended up missing the last game of the season due to a suspension. And then they find a way to win that game off the heroics of Aaron Rodgers in that fourth quarter. You move on now to the playoffs, and I see multiple times to where DJ Metcalf just was not able to catch the ball, man. It seemed like him and AJ Brown was practicing together before both of their playoff matchups. So I was highly disappointed. Um, that Houston Texans defense is legit. We definitely, well, the whole world has been speaking about that for damn near the whole season. Um, just moving on though, I said the Steelers, the Texans, and the Patriots. You definitely know what the Patriots are capable of based off what they did to your team. You was only able to score 3 points, but I feel
That was
like, excuse me.
that was AI.
Okay. But I feel like once again, just betting wise, I would have to go with the Patriots. They just been the hottest team in the league. Drake May is, I believe, the MVP of this season. If it was between him and Stafford, even taking the playoffs out of it, I just think Drake May just had the better season. The offensive weapons that the Patriots have, I'm just have much more faith in. Right, the Stephon Diggs of the world, the Hunter Henrys, the booty guy. I don't even know his first name. What's his full name?
Keyshawn? Kayshawn or Keyshawn?
Keyshawn. Kayshawn Booty, just all the weapons that they got on the edit on that end, I believe makes the game a lot easier for Drake May. The Texans, CJ Stroud is just gonna have to have one of those games, man, and it's gonna be have to be right now because we've seen how the Patriots can win in a low scoring game or they can win in a blowout. So this isn't gonna be that type of game that the Texans played the other weekend against the Steelers, who really couldn't put any points on the board besides those two field goals. Um, I don't really have too much more to say about it until proven wrong. Drake May and the Patriots are that team right now, and until they lose, I think you're just the best team just left.
True. Okay, so moving on now. We got the last game of the divisional round card in a whew, what I expect to be a banger. Talking banger after banger with this one between the Rams and the Chicago Bears. Do be it though, the weather is supposed to be awful. And there's a statistic that's out there that's Matthew Stafford is 1-4 in games where it's 40 below degrees. So I don't know how he's gonna adjust to the non-LA weather. But this game is between two offensive juggernaut teams. Um, um, Matthew Stafford, who's most likely going to be MVP of the year, in some eyes, against a Caleb Williams, who's just been spectacular all season. Somebody who's had a lethal second year, an impressive second year, I must say, and has just shown improvements across the board, looking like just an elite quarterback, a very elite quarterback that could really be special. And just watching the games, I've seen Caleb Williams take that leap from last year and just what he's able to do, just throwing the ball, just get scrambling out the pocket and just being able to make reads and just throw some crazy passes this year too. I've seen a lot of passes. I said, how the fuck did you get that there? How did you get into the hands of a DJ Moore, a Luther Burden, like a Roma Dunze? How the fuck did you do that? So credits to him. Credits to the Bears defense too as well for this year too for being very much tough too. They're no slouches though. But you're going into a matchup against a Matthew Stafford team that's ready to roll. Somebody that just had a lethal game against the Panthers too, and is just ready for whatever. I think just the likes of Puka Nakua. And Devontae Adams. Now that they got their first game back together under the belt, we should see a lot more from Devontae Adams. Just even the tight end core too, just the special abilities of just what Kobe Parkinson's able to do, as well as a Tyler Higbee, as well as a Terrence Ferguson. That lethal core is going to be looked at more to be relied on heavy, and even the running back core. I need Kyron Williams to be special. I think he definitely helps out the offense a lot more when he's just unstoppable. I need him to have a significant playoff game. I need Kyron Williams to go crazy in the run game. I need him to just run for at least 100 yards, even in the breaks in between. I need Blake Corum to just be able to let Kyron Williams have some breathing room in order to, just keep the momentum going. It's going to be a lot for the Rams, too. This is not an easy game for them. You're going into Bears territory. That crowd is going to be rocking. This is a team right now that feels like they have nothing to lose. They're playing with nothing. They're playing with house money, basically. So they're gonna go out there and just go to just play their game. Caleb Williams is somebody that kind of sees himself as a elite tier quarterback and is gonna do what it takes to win this game to make it into the semis. And I think it's gonna be a crazy game. Um, I can't wait. If I would have to pick a winner, in this case scenario, I might have to go with the Chicago Bears for the upset. I know that they was down last week at 18 though, but I think that you live and you learn from that type of mistake. I think Ben Johnson is going to have these boys ready to go out there and just really just give their A game. And no, by any means, I don't feel like it's going to be like a blowout or anything. I think it's going to be a close game. I just think that it's going to come down to just who gets the ball last. I think if Caleb Williams get the ball last in this case scenario, he's going to make a big play just for this team. And I'm very excited to watch this game. This game is going to be the best game on the card.
I definitely think it's the toughest game to call. The Rams are at home, right?
The Bears.
Oh damn. So, damn. Still, Sean McVay, right, a great offensive mind. I feel like he will have this team ready. I think they will definitely watch film of their last performance and seeing how they damn near almost lost to the Panthers. Right, they're not. going to be able to afford to play with their food, just like they did once again in that game against the Panthers. But then you can also say on the other side, right? The Bears know that they aren't gonna be able to probably pull off a comeback like that, like they did against the Packers, because you're going up against another team which definitely has a more prolific offense. So both teams who, snuck out wins, I feel like definitely had to look back at the game tapes and see where they went wrong at. This is definitely gonna be an offensive battle. For all the bettors out there, I definitely think the over has to be in the cards. If it went under, I would be shocked. But picking a winner, I I'm just gonna have to say the Rams, because I've seen them with just with a couple of more dominant performances just this season than I seen from Chicago. I feel like at any time Caleb Williams can just shit the bed. He's definitely looked great as of late, but I still need to see a little bit of a larger sample size to say that he is here. He's not going anywhere, and he's just one of those top QBs. So until proven otherwise, I'm gonna go with the veteran in Matthew Stafford. He's towards the tail end of his career, so him getting another, well, yeah, another Super Bowl would be very meaningful for him. But tough matchup. Gonna be a close game, I feel. But at the end of the day, I think the Rams win this and they move on to the next round.
Mm, it's gonna be a tough game. So we got this. The first one I think we disagreed on. So I don't know, man. I just think that it's gonna be a little chilly. I don't know if Matthew Stafford can stand that weather. Can you stand? Can you stand that 40-degree weather? Them Bears, man, that crowd is gonna be. You're gonna be in real hot. You think the Panthers crowd was loud? I've seen these Chicago Bears fans, and it's a nice thing to see when your team finally gets success after years of just kind of poverty, and now everything is just more so like now you have something to root for, and the crowd is just good. I think that plays a major factor more than people think, though. I think that just the dynamic of just the upset that if this happens people are going crazy. I just watched somebody go crazy after the Bears won. I think he won like 60K or some shit like that. He stoned furniture and it looked like he was at FanDuel or some shit like that. He stoned furniture up. I'm looking at tweets. Lil Wayne said we just lost to a nigga that paints his nails. Like, feel me? If the Bears could do it, I think the Bears know they could be special. And in this case scenario, like I said, sometimes it's good to play with house money, bro. It's
Yeah, but I
notorious.
feel like, yeah, they definitely won that last game, but one once again they had to come from behind, and I feel that Green Bay offense just is not the same as the Rams offense. Like, I don't think the Bears could have pulled off that same thing against the Rams. They're gonna have to be good from the start, so they just got a lot of pressure on them, and I feel like just the experience.
Bears?
No, I feel like the Rams just have more of the experience, and that's gonna play the biggest factor. I think the Bears is going to have to prove to the world that they are really here. Like that Green Bay game, man. Green Bay really just wet the bed. It wasn't like the Bears was really dominating them. Green Bay just kept leaving the door open. Like, are y'all gonna come in or not? You feel me? Like, I'm just not 100% sold off that last game.
We gonna see though. But we pretty much covered everything. So that's gonna do it for this episode of It's Debatable. Me and Justo just gave y'all our predictions. Please tune into this episode and previous episodes. Speaking NBA and just what happened last round and just everything. And moving forward, though, anybody that would like to say something based on these games, y'all more than welcome to come to the platform to cover the post games after us. Yeah, so divisional round this weekend. Do tune in, man. Place y'all bets, man. Hopefully, y'all make some money. Whatever the case may be, though. But me and your boy is out for this episode, man. Like, subscribe, comment, whatever you got to do, man. Just keep the platform rolling, man. Peace.